Hi everyone, welcome to On the Other Hand. I'm Ariane Zurcher, and today we're going to continue in our making of the otter needle roll. We're on page 7. Page 7 covers the crested chain stitch. I'm going to put that link up above in the upper right corner of the video screen, and I'll also be showing it to you again now. I had a thought, which was to make a Facebook page, a private group. So in the comments, tell me what you think of that idea. It would be so people who have purchased any of those patterns could post their projects and get encouragement, share tips, ideas with each other. Just a thought. The other thing I wanted to say before we get started is that a number of you have expressed interest in a kit. I reached out to Sue Spargo, and they're not able to carry a PDF pattern. They're only able to carry a physical book. So unless I'm able to figure out how to turn my instruction booklet into an actual physical book, they won't be able to kit up this needle roll. I am going to start putting feelers out and investigating what it takes to make this 20-page instruction booklet into an actual physical book, and what does that entail? I'm going to ask my husband to help me. He of course doesn't have a lot of time either, and I'll keep you updated. Merlin has made his appearance. Having said all that, let's get back to our stitching. We're doing page 7 of the instruction booklet, and we'll start on the crested chain. Don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe, click on that bell for email notifications, and I love hearing from you, so leave me comments. Let's get started on making our needle roll together. All right, I am doing a crested chain stitch. So I'm going to do my chain stitch the same way I layered these. I'm going to do the bottom one first. So I'll do this one, and then I'm going to do this lighter one. I'm going to put the video for the crested chain stitch up on the top right corner. Just for a little recap though, you start as though it's a chain stitch. I'm going to keep these really small because it's a small piece. The link for these, by the way, is in the description section as well, down below. So I do my chain like that, and then I take a tiny little stitch just above where this thread is coming out. I'm going to wrap my thread around just like that. Pull my needle through. I get a little knot right there. Take the back of my needle, pass it underneath the thread between the chain and the knot. Pull that through, and then I start my next chain here, my little stitch just above where that thread is coming out. Wrap my thread, pull my needle through. Take the back of my needle, pass it under this stitch. I'm going to continue doing my crested chain stitch here. This is the lighter green, so it's what's been called the medium green. It's kind of not medium, but whatever. It's Sawtooth Serenity is the silken pearl, and I'm just going to keep going here. Now, on the instructions, and when I first was designing this, before I was even writing the instructions, I kind of randomly chose to alternate the crested chain with a chain because sometimes the leaves were so close together it felt like it was too hard to do everything with the crested chain. So some of the sides I would do just a regular chain. So for example, on this one, I did this one all with a chain stitch. I'm not sure I'm going to do that. I'm going to see what I feel like. I'm following my directions. I'm going to, surprise, surprise, I'm going to see what I feel like. So far, I felt like doing the crested chain the whole time. We'll see how that goes. Okay. So in the intro, I mentioned a Facebook group. This is what I was envisioning. And you guys should tell me what you think in the comments. I'm totally open to, other suggestions. I was thinking that it would be a private group and it would be a place that people could show photos of their work as they're stitching it. But also it would be a place to, if there were issues that came up or problems, or you noticed something that you found helpful, or Denny, and thank you, Denny, posted on Facebook that she has a label maker that she puts a ribbon into, and the label maker then prints directly onto the ribbon. Which, how fabulous is that? I'd never even thought about one of these, what we used to call label makers, but to have ones that you can put a ribbon inside of, that's amazing. So she was saying that she was going to be using that for all of her needle labels, which would be so much easier to do. The other thing was when I started, so I asked her, what is it? What did you send me photos? So she did. Things like that I think would be really, really useful if all of those suggestions were, and ideas and things were all in one group, in one place where everyone who was working on this project could then access. So that was my thinking. I also was thinking that it would be a place I would be administering the admin on the group, and if people had questions that they could ask. I don't know. I mean, if it becomes a huge group, it might become too much for me and I won't be able to answer everyone's questions, because that can take many hours if there are lots of issues people are dealing with. But we could see how it goes. What do you think? So tell me what you think about that idea. Okay, so the label maker that I found, I can't vouch for it because I haven't gotten it yet. It's coming, I think, on Monday, so I'll let you know what I think. But here's the thing. It has ribbon that is iron-on. And to me, that's a game changer. I don't have to sew it on. I would love not to have to sew it on. Iron those things on, print them out, iron them. Amazing. Once I get it, I'm going to demonstrate how to use it. And we'll decide whether we like it or not right then on the spot. But if it's what I'm hoping it is, I think that could be amazing. What I'm doing on these tips is I'm going right out to the tip. So instead of doing my little knot here, I'm going to do it right here. I posted a blog post about how hard it is for me to follow instructions, even when they're my own instructions. And I don't know that this is such a unusual thing, especially for people who are artists or designers or creative, visually creative. I think that might be not so unusual. You can see here I'm just going right over the other wool frond, and I'm not really worrying too much about, like here I have a knot and I'm just going to go right there. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just letting them overlap, and I haven't done any chain stitch. I've done the whole thing in the crested chain. My instructions say if you feel like it, right? And I haven't felt like it. So there. I also wanted to show you what I do when I go into the corner here, right here. I want to show you what that's going to be like. So as I get closer, do what I've been doing. And then this last one, because when I go in here, it's going to be very close to the end. I don't think I'll do another one. I think I'm going to end my chain right there. I'm going to go right back into that V for my next stitch. I'm going to take my next, and because this little knot is so close, I'm not going to do one there. I'm going to just do a regular chain, and now I'm going to start doing my crested chain again. I don't have a formula. I just do each one as I come to it. So this one, you see I did a little knot here and then a chain, and then here I did 2 chains before I started my knots. I really just gauge it, each one individually, because each one is a little different. Oh, where are they headed? Oh, big boy. has his tail in my face right now. Merlin's searching for a place to sit, and he's found it right on the other needle roll. Okay, so here I go to my point, and I'm going to go right out to the edge here with my little knot. This one got a little elongated. It's a bit longer than what I like, but that's okay. I'm going to come right out on top of this next one. And okay, so this is going to be a good example. It's getting very busy in here. I'm just going to go into this thread, just keep going. And when I'm ending my thread, I think I've shown this before, I pull it through, I end it right here. So I'm picking up my new thread length right where I ended it within that little chain. And now I just continue on, and I'll just stitch one more example of this notch here so you can see how it's different each time. So when you get there too, you get an idea of how you might want to deal with it. So I'm going to do one here, tiny little knot. I'm going to go right into that V, and I'm going to end that, and then I'm going to turn my fabric and go right back up into that V, and I'm going to pull this do one here right next to that other one. I think I'm going to elongate this fern at the top just because I can. I feel like it. I'm going to put his little knot right here. And I continue. I'm on my final one. I've done these two, and I'm doing this one now. It's a little out of order from the instructions, but that's okay. And I'm thinking, who is this designer that she's making us do 5 of these? Isn't 4 enough? Okay, we're in the final stretch here. Taking a deep breath, and I'm plunging in, and I have not done any part of it other than the little notches where it's so crowded in there. That's where I've put in a chain stitch, 1 or 2 of them, but otherwise this whole thing is covered head to toe in crested chains. And when I'm done, I'll show you the difference between the two, and then you can decide what you think you like better, whether you like it covered or whether you like it sort of random, off again, on again. Although I must say there is a part of me that was thinking, why don't we just do a back stitch on this one all the way around? I'm just kidding. The reason I wanted to do the chain stitch was because I envisioned this. First of all, this is sea kelp, just so you know. And technically, it's all underwater. But then if it were underwater, you wouldn't see it. So there was no way to do this with a sky and an ocean without it jutting out. I envisioned this as little air bubbles. You know how when you're underwater, if you ever have gone scuba diving or snorkeling, and you see all the air bubbles around the plant life? That's what I envisioned. All right, there it is. The whole thing is done in the crested chain, and I'll show you the other one so you can compare it. This one is done with sort of intermittent crested chain, so the whole back here is not a crested this is a chain stitch, this is chain. Here I did just a chain stitch, here a chain. This one's just a chain. There's that versus this one. I have to look at my instructions. Aren't you proud of me? Okay, we're gonna go on to the null, the booyah knots over here. That'll be next. Tomorrow we're gonna do the null. We're going to do whatever's on page 8. The null, the sea coral. We'll do the starfish. I think we'll stop there, and then we'll do the sea urchins, I think, maybe the following day. So I hope this was helpful and interesting, if not helpful. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Click on that bell for email notifications. And don't forget to check out the description section. That's where I'm leaving links for everything that I'm using in this video. Until next time, here's to making our needle roll together.